Hey guys, today's video is going to be about building a data explorer app that uses generative AI to extract insights from a dataset. All right, so first thing we're going to do is build a file uploader. Streamlit has a specific function for exactly that purpose, so you can use this function. Also, once we upload a file, we will display the data frame with SD data frame. So when we do that, it looks like this. So let me drag and drop some simple file to show you what it looks like. And when I upload a file, I see the data frame. The generative AI model I'm going to be using today is extracted from the Groq API. There is a Python library to interact with this API called just Groq. Now, before going forward, you're going to need to create your own API key. So if you go to the Groq Cloud website, you first need to create a free account. Then once you're logged in, you're going to go under API keys and then create API key. They're going to ask you to name your key, and then it will give you your API key. Now, make sure to copy the API key somewhere else because it's going to be the only time you'll be able to see it. By the way, this is all free to use, so you don't have to pay for any subscription. All right, so back to the code. Here we're initiating the client with the API key. So here I wanted to show a quick example of a user prompt. Here I'm going to be sending the question, what is Groq API, to the model. Now to actually send the prompt, we need to use the chat completion create method, to which we're going to input the prompt, and we're going to be using the LLaMA3 model, which is actually Meta's LLM. Then finally, we're going to extract the content of the response. So again, with the prompt, what is Groq API, we get the example response here. Next, we're going to need a chatbot feature. So Streamlit has a chat input function that lets the user input some text in the chat mode. So here we're going to assign this chat input into a user prompt object. Then we're going to display the prompt with a small user avatar with the use of chat message. And finally, we're going to use the assistant avatar that's going to display the response from the model. So it looks like this. So if I say, for instance, hi, I have the user prompt and the response from the model. So if I say, who are you? Be quick, I get the response. Now, using this chatbot logic, we're going to refine the prompt to be able to create three features. The first one being an ask feature. So again, we're going to cache the chat input into a user prompt object. However, for this feature, we're going to add much more context to the prompt. So we're essentially going to be telling him that he is a data scientist analyzing a dataset. The dataset named DF has already been created and has the following structure. So this is the info from the data frame. So this is essentially the data frame that has been uploaded from the upload feature. We're going to tell him to assume DF is already available and that his task must focus on the entire dataset. We're going to tell him to assume that import Streamlit as ST. And the main task here is your code must only include a string containing a ST write statement that outputs a very concise sentence describing the result that completes the following task related to the DF dataset. So we're gonna input here the user prompt. We're also gonna tell him to not provide any block markers, markdown, explanation, or comments. And if the question or the user prompt is not related to the DF dataset, we're going to tell him to respond only with a ST-write statement advising the user of that. So we're going to input the full prompt now into the message, and the rest of the code is the same. Now, if we look how it looks now, again, we have the ask feature, the chat input. Now, if we try this ask feature, for instance, if we say, is this data set ready to analyze? We have the response that the data set seems to be well structured, and then it's ready to be analyzed. Second feature we're going to add is the aggregate feature. So this follows the exact same logic, but the prompt is slightly different. So again, you're a data scientist, DF has already been created, it is available. So this is where it changes. Your code must only include a string containing a st data frame statement that outputs the result that completes the following task. So again, here we're gonna input the user prompt, um, but the rest is exactly the same. So once we do that, we've got the aggregate feature. Now I'm not gonna test it out here. Let's just wait at the end. Third and last feature we're adding here is the create feature. Again, same logic, but in this case, we're gonna ask the model to output a plotly chart object. Actually, something I forgot to add here is since we're asking the model to output Python code, we're gonna be using the exec function to actually run the code in the app, like so here. All right, so once we gather all these components together, we get this app here. So let's start by uploading a simple dataset. So I'm drag and dropping an Excel file. So once I upload the dataset, we have the actual dataset here and the three features that we have configured. All right, so let's first try the ask feature. So let's start with writing, for example, how many columns in my dataset and name them. So the output is the dataset has three columns, date, category, and value. We could ask, are there missing values in value column? It appears that there are no missing values. So we could ask a more complex question. So if we have like, find the highest value of category A and tell me on what date it occurred in my data set. So as it says here, the highest value of category A is 902 on January 27, 2024. So we could actually verify. So if I sort the values from decreasing order, we find that the first category A that we found is on the 27th with a 902 value. So this is the kind of thing that this feature actually does. Now let's try some more complex prompts with the aggregate feature. So if we try to have the sum of value by category, it will output the a data frame, which is the sum of value by category. Now, if we wanted to be a bit more broad, we could ask him to have some summary statistics of value by category. So it outputs for each category a bunch of metrics. So we have the count, mean, standard deviation, min, etc. Now we could also ask the sum of value by week, where the week start on a Monday. Now, as we can see here, we have the sum of value by week, and the week starts on a Monday. Now, as you can see here, it is not perfect. It seems to have aggregated also the category variable. We could also ask the model to create a new column. So add new column, let's say as the concatenation of category and value. So here it creates a new column, which is the, in fact, the concatenation of the category variable with the value. We could try something else. We could pivot the table. So pivot category column. So as we can see here, we have the date and the category variable is now in columns. Now we can also ask him to actually add a prefix to these pivoted variables on pivoted columns. So as we can see here, it creates a prefix. Again, not perfect. It also added a prefix to the date variable. Now, if we wanted to have a even more complex prompt, we could do so here. So we pivot category column and we tell him to actually do it in a new data frame and tell him that in this new data frame, we could create a column, a new column called total as the sum of all categories. And the output is actually better. So we don't have the prefix on the date variable, but we have the total as the new column. Last feature that we have is the create one that actually creates some plots. So let's start with something simple. Create a line plot of value by category where x-axis is the date. So we have here, it creates a line plot by category in a time series format. Now, if we wanted to be a bit more inventive, we could actually create the same plot, but ask the model to then add a red horizontal line on value equals 400. On value 400. So it does what it's being asked. Now we could actually do some other plots. We could ask him to create a box plot of value by category, which create some box plots. Now, if we didn't like these colors, we could actually tell him that we want to make the boxes a different color for each category. And it listened. Now, if we wanted to try, let's say, a last plot, a heat map of value where x-axis is date and y-axis is category. So it creates the desired plot with the categories here and the date here with the heat map of values. Last thing that we could ask him is propose the best plot for my dataset. So apparently this is the best plot for the dataset. Honestly, this could be subjective. So yeah, this is the kind of features that you can actually create and configure with the Groq API. Now, I'm sure there may be a ton of other ways to actually configure the prompts to get better responses or create other features. But this is the kind of features that I wanted to showcase here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.